Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled, your shortcut to being well-informed, where we take complex ideas, extract the core insights, and, well, make them engaging. Today, we're embarking on deep dive number 22, our mission, to unpack the profound thinking of the 12th century Persian poet and mystic Attar. He was really a unique mind. His ideas set the stage for so many thinkers who came after him.
Absolutely. His foresight was just incredible. You read his work and it feels so relevant even now.
And this deep dive is really custom-tailored for you listening, aiming to give you a solid handle on Attar's key ideas without needing, decades of study.
Right. Now, before we really dive in, just a quick heads up for you. This discussion is based on translations and reproductions of conversations with Iranian philosophers, Dr. Ibrahim Dinani and Dr. Esmail Mansouri Larijani.
Yeah, and with any translation, especially of concepts this deep, this nuanced, some details might not come across perfectly, so we do apologize in advance if there are any discrepancies. We've really tried our best to capture the essence. Okay, let's unpack Attar's world.
Let's do it.
We're starting with Attar's maybe lesser-known work, but incredibly profound, Musibatnama. It means something like the Book of Suffering or Calamity. It's often considered even deeper than his more famous epic Conference of the Birds.
It really is. And at the heart of Musibatnama is this main character, the Siliki Fikr. That translates as the seeker of thought. Attar's core idea here is that thought itself is a seeker. It's never static.
So true thought is always searching, always striving for something new, not just arriving at a conclusion and stopping.
Exactly. For Attar, if thought isn't moving, if it isn't engaged in this quest, it kind of ceases to be true thought. It thrives through dialogue, through exchange. And the Siliki Fikr, it isn't just one person's thoughts. It's like the essence of universal thought. It engages with everything.
So this seeker talks to, well, pretty much everything. Minerals, soil, mountains, plants, animals.
Right. Even angels and prophets. It's incredibly comprehensive.
Wow.
And today, we want to focus on one specific, really compelling dialogue from this work. The one with the sea.
Okay, the sea. So imagine this. The seeker goes up to the vast ocean and asks this really profound question. Something like, you're huge, you're full of waves, you give water to everyone, quench their thirst, yet you seem thirsty yourself. What are you looking for? Why aren't you satisfied? Asking the ocean why it's thirsty, that just flips your perspective, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And the sea's response is, well, incredibly powerful. It roars. Its water boils up almost like fire, expressing this deep, deep shame about its own thirst.
Shame.
Yes, shame. It even describes its water as the sweat of its shame in all its movement, the waves, the foam for Attar. It's not just physics. It's a cry, an expression of anguish, of suffering.
A kind of profound yearning, then.
Exactly. And the sea reveals, I'm disheveled in pursuit. I'm seeking just a single drop from his sea.
His sea. Okay, not literal water, I'm guessing.
No. It's the water of Tawhid, which is divine unity and haqiqat, ultimate truth. This is what Attar calls the sea's hidden utterance. It's khalwat. It's this deeper reality humming beneath the visible waves and the sounds.
Right, that connects back to that idea we often touch on, the apparent, the zuhur versus the hidden, the batin. So the sea's obvious action, giving water, it masks this deeper inner longing.
And here's a really surprising twist. The sea also says something like, if I'm not thirsty for flowing water, how can I quench the thirst of others?
Wait, so the sea's ability to give life, to satisfy everyone else's thirst, it actually comes from its own deep, constant thirst for truth. Its own longing is the engine for its generosity.
Exactly that. The thirst isn't a deficiency. It's not a lack. It's the driving force. If it didn't have that longing, that underlying striving, you wouldn't get that life-giving power. So for Attar, life itself is seeking. Its dynamism, its movement, everything alive is fundamentally a seeker.
So it's not just about surviving, it's about striving for something more permanent, for eternal existence, ultimately connecting with the divine.
That's the profound goal, yes. The sea searching for that single drop of truth. That's its way of striving for permanence. So our existence isn't static. It's this constant dynamic quest of becoming. And this quest for truth is what actually gives life its meaning, its vibrancy.
That really reframes how you might look at challenges or even just desires, turns them into potential sources of power almost. Now, our seeker of thought, even after hearing this profound answer from the sea, is apparently left bewildered. This experience of hayrat or bewilderment, that seems to be a fundamental concept for Attar, doesn't it?
Very much so.
It's not confusion in a negative way, but more a state of expansive wonder, awe, in the face of this ever-unfolding truth.
That's it exactly. And it leads us nicely into another of Attar's key stories, this time from Manti Altair, or Conference of the Birds. Indeed, it's a perfect segue into the story of Bayezid Bastami, who kind of exemplifies this inner journey. Bayezid famously leaves the city, which for Attar symbolizes, the noise of daily life, being immersed in worldly stuff, being heedless of deeper realities, and he retreats to the desert.
And the desert here isn't literal, right? It's a symbol for the inner selves and the realm of meaning.
Precisely. It's the inner landscape. And in this inner desert, Bayezid perceives the vastness and the incredible order of the moon and stars, and this perception ignites a deep fervor or heart. That's the Persian word in his heart. It's this intense spiritual passion.
Right, and so he's asking, why don't people see this profound beauty, the source of its light? It's right there, even within them.
And the divine response he receives is quite sobering. This path is extremely difficult. Maybe only 1 in 100,000 can truly embark upon it, which emphasizes that this inner realm, this desert, is boundless. It's far vaster than even galaxies. And this connects powerfully to that Quranic verse. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves. Irafa ayikushi. In the horizons and within themselves.
Okay, so a complete person sees the afa, the outer world, the horizons in the anfas, their inner selves. They see the universal in the particular detail.
Exactly. For instance, seeing humanity in just one individual person, or recognizing the essence of beauty in a single flower, or grasping the profound meaning of charity in one specific act of kindness. If you fail to see the universal in the particular, you remain lost in particulars. You stay, in Attar's view, incomplete.
And Attar calls a person who fails to see the afa and the anfas a ghafil, which means heedless, asleep.
Yes, heedless or asleep. It's quite a strong categorization, isn't it?
It really is.
It suggests a profound lack of awareness, a kind of blindness to the deeper realities. And this state can also lead to gala, which means dilemma or anxiety. But this isn't just everyday worry. It's a natural existential anxiety that stems from our nature as possible existence.
Meaning we're not necessary beings. So we're inherently unstable, always seeking completion.
That's the idea. There's this natural human yearning, a kind of noble anxiety maybe, that pushes us to seek that permanence, that completion.
Okay.
And this leads to a distinction Attar makes between two types of fear. There's the common fear of harm, kakiafiat, that's worrying about physical or worldly damage, your job, your health, that sort of thing.
Right, the everyday fears.
But then there's fear of awe or fear of majesty, kafi'ayalal.
That sounds very different.
It is. This is a noble, profound spiritual experience. It's born from encountering divine greatness. It's not about personal safety. It's about being overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of truth. And that's often what leads to this herat, this profound bewilderment we mentioned.
So the awe itself can be bewildering.
Yes, and it's paradoxically painful because you feel the separation from that ultimate truth, yet intensely pleasurable because of the joy of yearning for union with it.
Painful and pleasurable. Wow. So after experiencing this profound bewilderment from the C's answer and maybe wrestling with these inner dilemmas, our seeker of thought, he goes to his guide, right? The peer of wayfarers.
Yes, exactly. He needs deeper insight. The peer represents the universal intellect, or akal kol. You could maybe think of it as the cosmic operating system, the universe's foundational intelligence.
The master blueprint, perhaps.
Absolutely. It's the pure, unerring intelligence from which all individual thought comes and ultimately to which it returns. Attar sees all our individual thinking as derived from this universal intellect. It's absolute awareness, flawless.
Okay, so it's this universal intellect, speaking through the peer, that starts to reveal the deeper nature of things. Like water, in this case.
And the peer really emphasizes water's purity, its cleansing nature. He calls it a nurturer, like a wet nurse. It gives without expecting anything back. It purifies everything, sustains life. Just like the Quran says, we made every living thing from water.
So water isn't just H2O here. It's a symbol of selfless purity, deeply connected to life itself.
Indeed, intrinsically pure and cleansing. And the peer explains that all the elements, water, air, earth, they all have these hidden utterances, these qualities that speak to us if we'd only listen. They serve existence. They're perfectly aligned with creation, with their own nature.
Like the seas cry we talk about, they're faithful to their purpose. But what about us humans? We have intellect. Do we always stick to our purpose?
Well, that's where Attar, through these philosophers presents a really stark contrast. While the elements serve and purify, humans, even with our intellect, often contradict nature's purity. Think about pollution, for example.
Exactly. We pollute the water, the air, the soil. Attar would see this as a flagrant injustice, wouldn't he?
Absolutely, because we're failing to listen to those deeper realities, those hidden utterances of nature. And the irony is, by polluting nature, we pollute ourselves. We damage our own well-being, spiritually and physically. The Quran even describes humans using these very strong terms. Zulum, meaning very oppressive, and Jahul, very ignorant.
Very oppressive and very ignorant. Why such strong language?
Well, the idea is that humans, unlike other beings, really struggle to know their own limits. Think about angels. They have defined roles, fixed limits. Gabriel is Gabriel, Michael is Michael. They don't deviate, they don't swap jobs.
Right.
But humans, our limits are paradoxically infinite.
Infinite limits. That sounds like a contradiction. How does that work?
It means we have an infinite capacity in both directions. We can be infinitely destructive, capable of truly immense harm, but we also possess limitless potential for perfection, for spiritual growth, for ascent. There's really no ceiling on human development, potentially. This inherent limitlessness is what makes humanity a miracle of God in this view.
So our potential for chaos is matched by our potential for divine connection. That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, and interestingly, while external elements have fixed limits, when their qualities like fire's heat or earth's humility manifest within a human, they also become potentially limitless.
So human anger can become boundless, but then human humility or compassion can also be boundless.
Precisely. They take on that human quality of potential infinitude.
Okay, so life is this constant seeking. Humans are limitless, potentially chaotic. How does anything stay on track? How do we avoid just flying off the rails with all this infinite potential?
That leads us perfectly into Attar's second really key concept for today, equilibrium, or adal. This is the anchor, this is what we need.
Adal. Okay, this sounds vital.
It truly is. Attar bases his whole poem on equilibrium on a very famous saying attributed to Imam Ali. The right and the left are misleading, and the middle path is the straight road.
The middle path. We hear that concept a lot, but how does Attar deepen it? What's his take?
He builds on it, stating, "Go in the middle, neither towards excessive honor nor towards disgrace, for equilibrium is a part of the universal intellect."
Part of the universal intellect. Wow, okay, that links balance directly to that cosmic blueprint, that operating system we were talking about.
That's the absolute core of it. Attar isn't just giving common sense advice like, be moderate. He's saying equilibrium is woven into the very fabric of reality. It's part of the universe's operating system, its divine intelligence. Justice itself, he suggests, is fundamentally an intellectual concept. Without the universal intellect as a foundation, justice has no real grounding. It's just opinion.
Can you give us a tangible example of that, something beyond the abstract?
Well, think about making rope. If you twist it too much, it breaks. Twist it too little, it unravels, it's useless, it fails its purpose.
Right.
The deeper idea here is that intellect is equilibrium. The entire cosmos, just by existing and functioning, follows this principle. We often hear the saying, by justice the heavens and earth stand firm. This applies all the way from the vast spiritual dimensions down to the physical elements.
So equilibrium isn't just important, it's existential. The universe literally depends on it.
That is Attar's view, yes. And it's crucial to understand it's not just about avoiding extremes in a purely quantitative sense.
So not just the mathematical middle, like 5 is halfway between 0 and 10.
Not simply that, no. Let's use the analogy of lukewarm water. Boiling water burns you. Freezing water, well, it's often not very useful either. Lukewarm water is neither boiling nor freezing.
It's usable, comfortable, perfect, really, for many things.
Exactly. But notice, it still contains the beneficial qualities of warmth and coolness, but without their harmful extremes. It's a perfect blend, positively right. It's qualitatively optimal.
Ah, I see. So it's not just not extreme, it's actively incorporating the positive essence of both sides, finding the qualitative ideal point.
Precisely. It's a qualitative state. It captures the best aspects without the negatives. It's not just absence of harm, it's presence of benefit.
Okay, so what about knowledge then? Ignorance is clearly an extreme to avoid. But can you have too much knowledge? Can knowledge itself be excessive in a negative way?
Attar would argue no, not true knowledge. Genuine understanding, real insight, doesn't really have an upper limit in that sense. You can't know too much truth in a negative way. What we should avoid are things like Excessive curiosity about trivialities, or being superficial, or just chasing information without wisdom. Since intellect itself is justice and equilibrium, genuine intellectual growth can't truly be excessive in a harmful way.
That makes perfect sense. It's not about the quantity of information bits, but the quality of understanding and how it's integrated, how it's placed. That distinction is really powerful. It changes how you think about balance.
Indeed, it moves us beyond a purely quantitative view of justice, like everyone just gets the exact same amount regardless of need or effort, to one that embraces wisdom and the right placement of things.
So if intellect is the ultimate principle of balance, what measures intellect itself? How do we gauge it?
Well, the answer might be a bit circular but profound. It's intellect itself.
Intellect measures intellect. That's quite a loop.
It is. Think about the scales we use to weigh things. Who designed those scales? Who calibrated them? Intellect did. In the same way, intellect is the faculty that evaluates itself. And, the biggest obstacle to knowledge, the real enemy, it isn't usually simple ignorance.
What is it then?
It's the illusion of knowledge. It's the cup that thinks it's already full and can't take anymore.
The closed mind. Yeah, that's such a vivid image.
Precisely. As Imam Ali said, justice is placing a thing in its proper place. The real work is figuring out that proper place, and that fundamentally requires intellect.
This whole idea of the middle path, Adele, this qualitative balance, it really resonates deeply with the Quranic idea of the Ummah Wasat, doesn't it? The middle nation.
Absolutely. It connects very strongly. It suggests Islam itself aims for this kind of profound moderation, this equilibrium. It feels like a universal principle Attar is tapping into, expressed through his specific lens.
It certainly does. And, maybe we can think about this moderation, this middle way, in terms of the three dimensions, length, breadth, and depth. Length could be its endurance, meant to last until the end of time. Breadth, its universality for all people.
Right. But the dimension of depth, that feels particularly relevant to Attar's journey here, meaning moving beyond the surface, beyond the zahur, the outward forms, the appearances to the inner realities, the batin, the hidden depths, going beyond just the sensory level to the intellectual, and maybe even beyond that, into a truly profound understanding. It mirrors our seeker of thought's whole journey.
The journey from the obvious to the hidden, yeah. Can you give an example of that kind of depth? How it might show up in texts like the Quran, for instance?
Sure, certainly. The Quran itself beautifully illustrates these layers. First, you have clear words, direct commands, pray, give charity, the explicit instructions, the zahur, understandable on the surface. Then you have those mysterious letters at the start of some chapters, the huruf muqatta, like alif lam mim or yasin. They don't form words in the usual way. They clearly signal something deeper, inviting interpretation beyond the literal.
Right, that's a second layer, definitely prompting deeper thought.
But then perhaps even more mysterious, you have a verse like, so he revealed to his servant what he revealed. That's from Surah An-Najm. What he revealed is completely undefined. It's veiled. It points towards something that perhaps can't even be put into words, something inexpressible, beyond our normal articulation. It signifies that true understanding, the deeper you go, it always gestures towards something even more profound, something that cannot be neatly captured or contained.
So the outer forms, the words, the rituals, the story, they're like gateways. Not ends in themselves, but invitations to go deeper.
That's precisely the idea. Gateways leading us towards these inner meanings, inviting a continuous, unending deep dive into reality's depths. Just like Attar's seeker never stops searching.
Wow. What an incredible journey we've taken today, really trying to dive deep into Attar Nishapuri's ideas. We understood seeking not just as an action, but maybe as the very essence of life itself, with that thirst, that yearning as its driving engine, pushing us towards ultimate truth.
And then his concept of odal, that equilibrium, realizing it isn't just about being sensible or moderate in a simple way, but something fundamental to the universal intellect itself, shaping everything from the cosmos down to our own minds and bodies, and seeing how real justice, in his view, isn't just arithmetic, counting things up, but has that qualitative depth.
Exactly. Embracing things like mercy, finding the perfect placement for everything, and seeing intellect itself as the ultimate measure, always capable of expanding, always potentially more. And we touched on how this whole quest for balance, for deep understanding, is really a journey from the surface appearances toward those boundless hidden meanings, a journey into our own inner deserts, perhaps.
A dive into the qualitative heart of reality, you could say, where that sense of true bewilderment, Herat, can actually be a guide, not just a barrier.
So maybe for you listening, here's something to chew on. We heard from Attar, through the voice of the sea, that our thirst for truth isn't a deficiency, It's not a lack, but actually the very thing that enables us to quench the thirst of others, to give life. Life becomes this ongoing search, this active seeking, and that search finds its guide in equilibrium, in a Tao. Not just dodging extremes, but actively trying to align with this fundamental quality of the universal intellect, this cosmic blueprint where justice is both measured and maybe immeasurable in its qualitative depth.
So if knowledge and intellect, maybe even the universe itself, are operating on this principle, this ever-unfolding qualitative balance that doesn't really have a ceiling, what could that mean for your own search for wisdom? How might embracing your inner desert, that inner vastness, reveal more than just seeking outwardly?
Yeah, how might consciously trying to find that middle path, not just in what you do, but maybe even in how you take in information, how you perceive things, pushing past that surface level.
Good, yeah.
How might that shift your day-to-day understanding? What hidden depths might you uncover in yourself and maybe in the world around you?
Exactly. What could you uncover in your own learning, in your own life, if you embrace this kind of boundless seeking quest guided by that qualitative balance, just like Attar seems to be suggesting? Lots to think about there.
Definitely something to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Wisdom Unveiled.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep pondering, and keep unveiling wisdom.